just last week, our guys found this new area in the southern part of El Molino that looks like it's a feeder for that, part of the structure. And it's going to be somewhere where we're definitely going to go back and drill and explore.
Well, hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics, and I am joined today by Steve Cope of Silver Viper, and he's going to provide a quick update of the project and how things are going down there. So, Steve, it's great to have you back on the show as always, and perhaps you could just let the investors and viewers know how things are coming along at Silver Viper right now.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. It's always great to be back on. Yeah, Silver Viper. I mean, this has been like our breather period. We finally have taken a little break here from drilling, just to get caught up on all the information. It's allowed our team to, walk this very large land package that we have and really start to map and sample and start to combine, that extra layer of information above and beyond the drilling that we've done to really start to understand, how our different targets and our different structures are coming together. And I've mentioned it, on a presentation actually, but just last week, our guys found this new area in the southern part of El Molino that looks like it's a feeder for that, part of the structure. And it's going to be somewhere where we're definitely going to go back and drill and explore here in the fall as we come back in and get back on the drill rig. But that area is looking very, impressive. We've seen some really high grade surface sampling in that area as well. Some of the highest grade surface samples we've seen anywhere on the project. So that's, a structure that's running about 2 kilometers to the east of El Rubi and parallel to our El Rubi structure. And these structures run, you'll see them outcrop and run for hundreds of kilometers. So, you got to find the sweet spots within that structure, where you're going to get these blowouts of mineralization. But that El Molino area certainly seems very important. And we really want to get back and drill that southern end of El Molino. El Rubi, has been our main event. They've been mapping and sampling all over it. Really, part of our deep drilling that we're going to be doing there moving forward is going to be targeting a deeper contact. Our success so far has been in the andesite package. Below that, we have the rhyolite package where we still see mineralization, but it's just not as favorable of a host rock for those big broad widths and really high grades. But what we're targeting in our model is going to be looking at that area underneath that rhyolite package and either coming back into another andesite package or into a metasediment package. And if we run into one of those, and that contact could be where you see, on these typical similar deposits to this around the world, where you start seeing bonanza grades and widths, occurring right as it comes into that hard rock that doesn't allow the fluids to percolate. It hits that contact, it spreads way out, so you get these big broad widths and high grades. And so we're really excited to be testing El Rubi. We did some geophysics on that part of the project, and it lit up one very large deep target that we're really excited to test as well. Further, they're out there on Perdones, Macho Libre coming off. This is just a small portion this image is showing here of the project. This is where most of our work has been focused, but that Macho Libre target's a 2 kilometer long target, and we've got lots of favorable stuff in there. There's a little mine symbol that you can see down to the left there, very faintly in the bottom of that image, and that's the El Oriental area of the project. And there's some old underground workings that the guys have been going in and exploring and sampling and testing from, these are old scratchings that are, 100-year-old type holes. And again, they were mining some high grade mineralization when they were doing that and hand copying it out, 100 years ago. So again, these are all sorts of areas that we've never drilled that are highly prospective. And we've always said, this large land package and what we see, that we're going to find a lot more on this project. El Rubi was our initial discovery. Mine finders in Pan American found the Las Guatas, Converginia, La Virginia area, but that was their focus. And that's off of this image to the south and about another, 5 Ks away from El Rubi. But again, that's that same structure that runs through Las Guatas, Converginia comes up. We saw that outcropping at El Rubi, and that was our number one drill target. That's why we made our discovery there. You go along that flat plateau that El Rubi, at the start of on the southern end there, and 2 kilometers to the north, you get El Rubi North. And we sample that, and we actually see some base metals in El Rubi North with gold and silver. Then you come off the plateau, and then you sample, and you see mineralization occurring at the bottom of the arroyo off the plateau as you move further north and get up to our large porphyry target at La Gloria that, isn't our focus, but again, is very, very interesting. So it's a target rich environment. We're going to be doing, some testing on new targets, looking to make new discoveries. and then also, continuing to expand that discovery and our resource at El Ruby.
Yeah, and Steve, I know in that presentation you also mentioned you've been seeing some good copper, lead, and zinc numbers.
Well, what's always been the mystery, and what's further prompted us to want to go deep at El Ruby is every so often we get a half meter where you see these sulfide mineralizations that have been blasted up from deeper in the system. And so, the traditional Mexican epithermal model, you would, when you get high grade gold and silver, no base metals, as you step down, the precious metals fall off and the base metals pick up. But out at Ruby, we'll drill at surface and hit high grade gold and silver with no base metals, go down 300 meters and we're still hitting high grade gold and silver with no base metals. So there's, yes, it's an epithermal system, but there's a different type of system at play here than, your traditional vein system in Mexico. And we actually had a large investment from Crescat Capital in our structure, and Quentin Hennig, who's a very well-known geologist, and a lot of your listeners will know him from other projects and his name being around. And he actually signed a CA, did a deep dive into our database, and looked at it and said, "You're on to a gold carbonate base metal system." Which, when you look at our stuff at surface, one, we have no carbonates. One, there's no base metals. So what do you mean it's a gold carbonate base metal system? But again, it comes back to that deeper contact that I mentioned. And, if that's a meta sediment package below the rhyolites, that's where your carbonates will come in and you'll see bonanza grades of gold, silver, and base metals. And he, related it to a number of different mines in Indonesia and Australia. Dolores is actually one of these, 100K to ourselves. So again, this was the lookalike for Dolores, and it's, a different animal than your traditional systems in Mexico as well. So I think we're on to something pretty special here. It's just a matter of, when we raise that capital to go and do the deep drilling, and then, with our existing small rig, we'll continue to, the man portable rig, go around and poke around at all these other targets and start to, hopefully find additional El Rubies. But we're really excited about that potential of that deep target, and as well as all these other targets. So it's weird. We're in this state where we're in kind of a weird market right now, and we're seeing people preserve cash, but in a normal market, we would be raising huge money and upping the program and really taking off right now. So I'm excited for us to get back into that this fall, get the drill rig turning again, and I think we're going to make a number of new discoveries and continue to expand our Ruby.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And Steve, if people have questions, can you just give the website and the best way to contact you?
Yeah, www.silverviperminerals.com. All of our contact details are on there, but you can email at info@silverviperminerals.com as well. That'll get to Alicia or myself. Yeah, and then if you feel free, if you want to call, we're the phones. If I'm not in the office, it gets forwarded to my cell phone. We've been working from home since COVID, so but it's easy to get a hold of us, and we're more than happy to chat with anyone that has any questions about the company or about the sector. We're always here to help.
Well, I appreciate that, Steve, and good to see you're moving things forward. And we will look forward to checking in again with you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Yeah, it's always a pleasure.